What is up, my friends? Just here with Just Man Sports Cards. Gonna do kind of a response video today, and that's gonna be in response to Flipping Steve and Sports Card Anonymous. They've both kind of done prospecting videos on NFL players. In the baseball community, it's really popular to do like response videos, and it's just kind of going off their video idea and kind of creating a community about that. And with all the some of the drama that I never really keep up with. I thought this is a good way to kind of build community. I'm only mainly focused on 90s basketball cards, but I do enjoy collecting modern NFL players, and I'd like to help build that community some. If you have never checked out their channels, I'll give links down to those videos where they talk about prospecting. I thought it was a really good idea. I have my stuff right here, and I'll walk through it later on. Flipping Steve, great content, over 5,000 subscribers. Recently did a giveaway to the National. Congrats to Mark who won it. That's cool. And then Dakota on Sports Cards Anonymous. He's mainly football, but he kind of hunts all over the place and does a lot of stuff on ComC, which I'm doing more and more. Um, I've prospected, however you want to call that, some throwing around flipping. Some people wouldn't reveal who they're doing just because they would call it pumping the market. For me, I collect players that I like personally. I think they have a shot at the Hall of Fame if the path continues correctly. So, like Steve talks about risk reward, I the risk isn't as high on these players, but the reward isn't as high because they're already established in their careers. Um, so, and I'll walk through the cards when I flip on the screen. The four players that I did was DK Metcalf. Uh, he was really hyped like 2 to 3 years ago, kind of fell off. But then Geno Smith, who was actually one of Dakota's picks on Sports Cards Anonymous. I'm not crazy about Geno. I get that he's the quarterback. I think he's an awesome dude. I like the way he talks to the media. I just don't think he has any shot at the Hall of Fame. But he's going to be thrown to DK Metcalf for a second year now, and I feel like that's a really big deal in the NFL where they actually start to build chemistry. The receiver, quarterback, and I think that's a really big thing. I have 7 cards of his. I spent about $225 on those cards. The biggest player that I've chosen is Derrick Henry. And I didn't mention this I, for me with football, and just kind of prospecting on these. I don't play fantasy football because like my life is so busy during the upcoming season. I work in agricultural, and it's coming up to harvest, and it's too much for me to do fantasy football. But this is like a fun way for me to enjoy football even more, and I guess there's a little gambling in it, but however you want to look at that. Derrick Henry, 12 cards. I'm into him for $515, so that's my biggest thing. And later in the video, after I show the cards, I'll walk through why I've chosen him. He's already had a 2,000-yard season. They just picked up Hopkins. I didn't realize that was going to happen. I think that's great because I've watched a lot of their games, and the biggest thing with him is they just run him into a full box, and it's just tough. And I've always just thought if he was a little better at catching and could catch outside of the box, once he gets into those smaller players, they just can't tackle him. So I have some nice cards of his, and almost all these I've won at auction. And what I really noticed this year, like I paid a lot more attention to auctions and football and trying to pick up deals. And I'm not into that many Facebook groups. I should get into a little more on the football stuff. Uh, there's just not that many auctions. People don't auction their football cards in the off season, and good on them because the prices go lower. Uh, the third player that I'm so I'm into Henry for the most, DK for the second most. Amari Cooper is the third most for $126, 4 cards. He's been with the Oakland Raiders. Raider fans are pretty loyal, and then he's been with the Cowboys, and the Cowboy fans are pretty loyal. Fans love him. They always say when he like catches, and I like him as a guy too. Alabama, so he has the history there. Um, and he's on the Hall of Fame path, but not as much as the next player. And I think the next player has more potential. And the next player is Diggs in Buffalo. Um, him and Josh Allen are just gonna blow it out of the water. I just not that many cards came up at auction, and these I started at January when I started picking up these cards, and that's how I'm doing this video. So I had two cards for $60. Would have liked to pick up more stuff there, but just not cool cards that I wanted to pick up. So most of the stuff I'm okay holding on to long term, especially with Diggs and Henry, Cooper and Metcalf. I'm probably a little more eager to move if some big news or a big game. So a lot of these cards, some of the cards I've listed already. Some of those I have not. Anyways, I'll flip it around and I'll show you what I bought. Here we go. I'm going to show you from least spent to the most spent. I'm going to show you all my numbers, not hide anything here. This is my eBay page, Jesse J. Pender. Hi, Jesse. You can see all that jazz. So these are the two cards I bought. The Red Prism, $28. I could see this easily going for 55 if he gets hot, or even if he just has an average season, I can see it selling for 55 during the season. And the other card I picked up was a Topps autograph, numbered out at 250. I sent this off for grading, so I should have those grades within the next 2 weeks. So I have, I think, 4 orders at PSA, and then so I spent again $60 on Diggs, Coop. I spent 126. I was looking for some stuff to grade, like a cracked ice, and I didn't actually send anything of his, than the numbered stuff. And I'll later show the cards up close so you can see them. And then, unfortunately, yeah, the big card that I did pick up was a National Treasures patch auto. Basically, essentially his best card. So his best card, not in a PSA 10 for $110. I don't see that going down a whole lot. So I said I would do it in the order that I spent. So here we go. Metcalf. This is his Silver Prism. So I looked at his silver stuff, select stuff. You'll notice with Henry, I picked up a lot of select stuff. It's just a lot lower pop in those years than Prism. So some of the Prism stuff is priced more than the select, even though the select is way more rare, and I think the select could be better looking depending on the eye of the holder. So select raw card. I don't think this will grade out. It was out of 199. Gorgeous card. It's got like a texture to it, but I didn't send it in for grading. And then the Great Art Kings. This is more of a collector card. So I thought about cracking this out. To be honest, with the most recent order, I forgot that I had it and I did not send it in. So I was hoping to crack this and get a PSA 10. I can always do that down the road. And then this card is gorgeous. Let's see if he'll pull it up. No, so I'll show it in hand later. But it's an incredible card. And then Metcalf, not Metcalf, my bad, Henry. So like I said, all this stuff I picked up since January. This was a steal. The select, I'll show you his Prism stuff, and we'll go after that like later on if you guys want to get into the weeds on graphs and stuff. $80. Just really bad picture by the seller. Kudos to this guy for shipping it. These normally go for like $170, and that's in the off season. So I could see this easily being a $200 card, and great shine on this, low pop. And I'll pull up the populations and stuff in the graphs like I normally do on my channel once I get past this part and I'm showing the cards. Crusades, gorgeous card. Select, I focused on Select because the population is so low. $40. Actually ended up returning this card. It had a big line in it right here, which was really hard to see from the pictures. It should have been delivered 2 weeks ago. For whatever reason, post office didn't scan it, so I'm dealing with Probstein right now and trying to get a refund. It's been tough. I picked up an auto 138. Came in pretty clean. I think it's going to grade an 8. In that current market, that's a push. But if he gets high, especially if he has another 2,000 yard season within 16 games, not 17 games, I think his stuff is going to skyrocket. Guessing, not financial advice here. Do your own thing. As always, we're all grown adults here. So this card came in. The back was pretty scratched up. Sent pictures to the seller. He refunded about half, $17. So that's good. I didn't end up grading it because I just didn't think it was gradable. But I should have looked at the card a little more thoroughly, and the seller should have probably taken a little better pictures. So we split the difference there. Contenders, I don't know what I was thinking here. This is the off year, but it's out of 199. So down the road, this stuff could be collectible. Panini Player of the Day. This is a gorgeous card, which I'll show later. The Esker Squares, which super low population, I'll show later. I sent this out. This is at grading. So if you watch my send off for 90 cards and newer, you'll see this card in there. I sent this out for grading. Gold out of 79. Acetate. It'll probably grade an 8, but I don't see really going wrong with that. Chainmail Armor. This is kind of a collector's card as well. Great shine. I think it's pop 1, none higher. Optic. I got this in hand, and to be honest, the select cards are just so much more beautiful than these optics or the prisms. They have way more shine. So I will show you what I sold. Metcalf sold for $44. If you go back, I made about 50% profit here. I'll take that win. And then I wasn't crazy about the optics, so I just turned around and listed it real quick, and I sold it for 50% profit. I have another one up on eBay right now, and so that you can tell my old listings here. I just wasn't the greatest at taking pictures, and I've gotten a lot better. And then you can see just like here, this is their picture of the Henry, and that's my picture. So that can be a thing too, is just taking advantage of that. So anyways, we'll stop here, and then I'll flip the camera back around and show you some of the cards and the populations. And here we go. First card is Stefan Diggs. Red Prism. These aren't numbered, but the Prism stuff. I have a blue color match that I bought last year. DK. These are just, if you've never collected the Guerrero Kings, it's got like a canvas look to it. I just think it's artistic. So I meant to crack this one, and that's the one I told you about. Just didn't do it, so I'll leave this out, and that way I can crack it when it's time. Select, Silver Prism. The pop isn't super low on this. I pulled it up. It was like 138 with 8 higher. So, but much lower than the Prism stuff. Back, you can see that says Prism. Gorgeous card though, right? And this is gonna be kind of maybe, I don't know, this is gonna be harder to pry from my hands. This is out of 99. This wasn't at an auction. It was a buy it now, and I haggled back and forth with the guy. PSA 10. There's only 99 of these, so we'll see. He's still young. He's got to have quite a few good years to kind of materialize. Coop, pretty good patch, right? I mean, it's all player worn, but good picture of him. There's different versions of this. Like, but I went with one of the ones out of 99. He signs pretty nicely too. A lot better than Diggs. I'm not crazy on Diggs. Sure, I need to take this off. I want it from PWCC, but not. I want it from PC Sports Cards. Apologies there. I looked the pop up on this before. It's to me this is gorgeous. Rookies and Stars is probably not a super popular set, but if a collector is looking for a nice card, this would be pretty easy to move at a card show or something like that, I think, especially if it gets hot. And I'm not afraid to hold this stuff too. This is a pop 8 with 3 higher. Gorgeous card. So this is getting pretty esoteric here, but if you watch the channel, you know I'm into rarity, and that's kind of my thing. But this incredible shine, player of the day. I couldn't look up the pop on this. I could, but it would be an SGC pop. As always, I'm not too crazy about their grading 9.5 just because I quickly did this and then I saw that white down there, but maybe PSA would still give it a 10 with that. I don't know. But just for me to notice it that quick. Great shine. Chainmail Armor, Panini. So this is like just a paper stock card. These are really hard to gem. And then you have to pretty geek out on the checklist to find this. I won this auction, and it's a pop 1, none higher, none lower. So if someone really wants this card, you gotta come find me. And these are the cards that I think they just don't pop up that often as far as the auctions go. So it works typically like any select product does. The higher you get in the card number, the more rare it gets. But these are still, total pop is under like 100 cards. I think this is like, including 9s, 10s, and 8s, is like a pop of 67, and then this is like a pop of 55. And so maybe what I'll do here is I'll hold this like this, and I'll bring up the prism here, and you can look at the population, and I'll try to throw the population of this and then the price on 9s, and then just realize this is even more rare, but then I'll leave the population stuff up here so you can look at the price. That I think the Prism Sims have gotten a little too crazy on. The early year select stuff is just slept on. So I think there's an opportunity just there, knowing the years and the cards, and then I'm gonna just show some stuff that, like, I'm from Missouri, so I collect cheap stuff, and stuff like this just makes it funner. Chris Jones had another pretty good year. It looks like the team's going to keep him, so I went out and picked up, I would call this pretty close to his best rookie card. And then Marquez Valdez, I picked this up last year too, like towards November, December. Probably not the best time to buy it, but he's a speedster, has a chance, but we'll see. Anyways, if you've made it this far, please like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate the support and hope everyone's doing well. And thanks again to Flipping Steve, and then Sports Card Nonsense, Dakota, for the idea and sharing your ideas and thoughts and supporting the community. Later.